Hello viewers, good to have you at this time for economics. Today, at your request, we are looking at likely GCE theory questions. Some of you in your reactions, you drop comments that we have done so much on OBJ that we should try theory. We have also done theory on the GCEPRep and NAPTEP. You can check our previous videos. So this is theory questions on economics GCE. So let's look at it together as you sit back. The first question we're looking at today is this. Define opportunity cost and explain 5 ways it affects decision-making in economics. If you look at this WAEC, when they ask questions, their question is only 2 edges sword, compact, expecting you to dissect in between and present your answers. If you are to be WAEC, real WAEC, what they will do, they will say define 1A, define opportunity cost, 1B, explain 5 ways it affects decision-making economics. But for GCE, they put it together, define opportunity cost and explain 5. They're expecting you to dissect it and distinguish between it. So in this question, just one question, but you are presenting 2 separate answers. Okay, the first answer is to give the definition of opportunity cost. And the second one is to try to explain in 5 ways how opportunity costs affect decision-making in economics. Okay. Now, opportunity cost is a fundamental principle in economics, which has to do with the foregone alternative, or you say alternative foregone. In other words, the sacrifice made for satisfaction. Okay? The best product you left unbought, unused, unconsumed to satisfy your choice. Opportunity cost is always the real cost. Okay? What you get after you make choice is known as what? Opportunity cost. So let's see what I have for you in my answers here. All right? Opportunity cost is the value of the next best alternative. Next best alternative for goal. There's no way you want to explain opportunity cost without making reference to this alternative for goal. It is the alternative you forgone when you have made one choice. Anytime you make choice, there's opportunity cost, which is what? The real cost. No choice, no opportunity cost. Every choice you made in life will always have what? An opportunity cost, which is the real cost, a sacrifice you made for that particular choice. All right? You watching this video at this moment is a sacrifice. It's a choice you have made. And for making that choice, the opportunity cost could be something you would have been doing at this particular time for this. Okay? So what is the effect of opportunity cost? 1, opportunity cost helps individual to compare the alternatives. You look at which one works best for you, which one satisfies you the most. Among all your list of wants, you make choice. It guides firms on resources allocation. Opportunity cost help a firm, a company, an industry to know how to allocate their resources appropriately for the right use, for the proper use, the best alternative. Opportunity cost influences government budgeting decision. Help government to know what is to be paid attention at this year budget. Is it building of roads, construction of bridges, or imports, or sports, or the other? It helps government to make the right choice. It prevents waste of scarce resources. Remember that the fundamental problem in economics is what? Scarcity of resources. We have resources, but always not enough in the face of what? Unlimited ones. So it prevents waste by helping us to allocate those resources appropriately and efficiently. And then it determines production combinations in an economy. If you remember, also one of our videos, we did a lot on PPC, production possibility curve, which helps you to combine the production of two products at the same time, using the available resources appropriately and efficiently. Okay, so these are some of the helps opportunity cost gives to us when we apply it. The next question. State and explain 5 factors that influence the demand for a commodity. State. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then second answer, explain. Number 1, you explain it. Number 2, you explain it. 3, you explain it in that order. So, what are the factors that influence the demand for a commodity? I'm very sure, as an economics student, the first thing you mention is what? Is the price of that commodity. Yes. Based on the law of demand that states what? The higher the price, the lower the quantity demanded. The first factor that influences the demand for a commodity is the price of that commodity. And remember, this price is inversely proportional. As the price is going up, the demand is coming down. And as the price is coming down, wow, demand is going up. That's inverse proportional. Another factor that will affect the demand for a product. So if I were you, we'll just have 1, price of the product. 2, income of the consumer. Letter Y is written as what? As income. Income of the consumer. How much is available at your disposal? Your available resources determine the level and the quantity of what demand you are going to make. It will determine whether you have effective demand. Effective demand means your ability to back up, your desire with ability back up to pay for what you want. Okay? The next thing you're also going to consider is the price of substitutes. What are the prices of other products that are closely substitute or alternates to that particular product? For instance, looking at Milo and Bonvita. Okay, so if the price of Milo is high and you see that Bonvita is lower, they are close substitutes. You could go for the other one. So the price of close substitutes, Bonvita, will affect the demand for what? For Milo, which used to be your choice. Price of close substitutes. Another factor that will affect is the price of complementary goods. What are the prices of other products that goes together with that your particular choice, that complements your choice? That joint with that choice, like you like Milo, that's a tea. What's the price for milk? What's the price for sugar? What's the price for bread? These are complementary goods for you to have for bread and tea. So to have a complete tea, as we have it with our mentality here, okay, you need a sugar, you need a milk, and of course a chocolate. If you're somebody like me, I prefer a Lipton, all right, a tea bag. So now, to have a complement a cup of tea, you have to consider these 3 items as a joint consumption. So the price of others of milk or sugar will also determine your demand for Milo. So when you consider how much you're going to spend to just take a cup of tea, you might decide not to, but to just get a drink or get water at best. Okay? Then the consumer taste and preference. What is your taste? What do you prefer? Most of the time we are ready to go higher even for our taste. Your taste to a large extent determine what you demand for. All right? Very well. So these are the factors that affect the demand of a commodity. Like I advise, first of all, list them based on the question. State them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you now start explaining them one after the other, just as the question stated. Because they will give you points for listing, and then they give you points for explanation. Very well. Let's see the next question. Highlight 5 factors that determine the supply of agricultural products in Nigeria. When you're asked to highlight means make the points and then explain the point. Okay? When you make the point, for instance, if you say technology, let's say point 1 is technology. That's your first point. You put an hyphen, then you explain technology. Okay? Maybe point 2, if you say availability of loan is the point. Huh? Then you explain what you mean. That's what I mean by highlights. Okay? Very well. As we are teaching you the answers, we're also teaching you how to present your answers in exam so you can get your complete point. Okay? So let's see some of those factors that determine the supply of agricultural products. Factors that make us to have either more or less of agricultural products in the market. Okay? Let's see them now. The first one is weather condition. So this, what you have just done, you have just highlighted them. So the next, you now have to, as you write one, then you now explain. The weather condition annually, to a great and a large extent, affects the level of productivity in the farms for agricultural products. When we have more rains, those products that do well with rains, like maize, like yam or what have you, you have more of them for that year. But when you have a drought where there's no rain, most of those products may not do so well. We may not have enough of supply of them in the coming year, grains particularly. Okay? Availability of farm inputs. Farm inputs are all those elements that are needed, the components that are needed for you to have higher yield. All right? Like fertilizers is needed. The availability of tractors to support large-scale farming, or manpower, labor, all right? Or availability of land, what they call good land, arable land for farming. All these are inputs for greater supply of products at the end of farming season. Then government policies. What is the policy of government to assist the farmers, either to get credit facility like loans or grants given to them? The grants could be in form of cash, could be in kind. They can grant them in group, tractors, machineries, tools for large-scale cultivations. They can help them to clear their farmlands at the beginning of the season, and I give them tractors either free from local government to local government, or give them credit facility to buy grains, to buy or supply fertilizer to them. Government have been doing that from time to time, like I understand. You know, whether the farmers are making good use of this or not is what I cannot say. Whether even the fertilizers or the support or the grant government is giving to them are actually getting to those farmers, real farmers. That's what I cannot say. Most of the time, some of these grants, credit facility are hanging somewhere among the politicians. Even when they get down, they don't trickle down enough, not the whole, to the farmers. And that's a major problem. Policies of government can also affect supply. Another policy is in helping them for storing, warehousing, to store some of their products so that they can still be valid and remaining for the following year. You know, storing, warehousing, you understand? Like silos, keeping silos of grains. The level of technology, availability of machines will help to engage in mechanized farming. All right? Unlike this labor intensive that can only produce little or more for a village. But mechanized farming, when the level of technology increase, and also this new species of products for fast yield at a limited time. I'm not talking about GMO anyway, although whether we like it or not is here with us, you know. Then pest and disease outbreak will also affect the supply. Some years, pest that could be disease, that could be pest outbreak. And that's why they also need chemicals, like a form of support from the government, regulated chemicals to reduce the effect of these pests and disease when there's outbreak of them, so as to not to affect the yields of the farm produce. So these factors and many more. Even closeness to movement of products to the market is also another way that will affect the supply of this thing, what do you call it, of agricultural products. Like those ones, they are moving down from the north, moving tomatoes, moving yam and all those stuff, fruit like watermelon, oranges. Sometimes they have issues on the way, the long distance, they have issues on the way with their vehicles and all those stuff. These things are delayed and half of them get rotten and go spoiled before they get back eventually to Lagos where they're bringing it to. So all these logistics can also affect the supply of agricultural products. Another question we're looking at is this. Explain 5 reasons why the supply of labor is low in developing countries. Why do we have fewer people working in developing countries compared to developed countries? In developed countries, we have so many of them that are working. Why do you have limited people, not as many as our developed countries, working in developing countries? Nigeria is a developing country, I hope you know. So why do we have fewer people as labor force in Nigeria compared to greater number available in US or in UK and other developed countries? The first reason is low population growth in the skills sectors. We give birth to more children. We have more dependency ratio, more people in that bracket, all right? But the skill sectors are not growing like dependent sector. Many of these people are not being properly trained to become professional and expertise. Even when you go to universities, many of them cannot practice what they learn. I've encountered somebody who graduated as a computer science cannot operate a computer. And that's an aberration in this generation. Okay? Somebody who says it's a mechanical engineering graduate, even master order, mechanical engineering, you are driving your car and your car stuck on the way. You don't have an answer, you have to look for what? A roadside mechanic. It doesn't add up. Okay? So low population growth in skill sectors. My question has always been, is it everybody that go to, what do you call it, university in US or in UK or in China? No. These guys don't go to university as such. But they are trained in technical aspects. And because this technicality has failed in this country, I said we're having a problem. We have so many graduates who are jobless, doing not because they cannot even practice what they learn. Everybody's just going to university. And they're out there in the labor market. No job. Because they can't even practice what they learn. They don't even, I'm not sure they can even practicalize it. So we need more of technical, skilled workers, skilled laborers, skilled trained people. Our technical colleges, unfortunately, they already broke down. Nobody wants to go to technical college. But these are the backbone of a growing economy. In China, they don't go to school as such or go to university. Some of these boys, they just stay behind in the garage, behind the workshop. They just design, put things together. Before you see it, they have the patent and sell it to a company, they produce mass, and still bring it to us to start using it. They are local guys. As you see some of those guys, they come, also companies, those construction companies, they do bridges, do roads in Nigeria from China when they come. They are not school guys. When you look at their certificate, many of them are just technical graduates, technical skilled laborers. They don't go to university. It's unfortunate. So we have low population growth in skill sector. We have brain drain. What is brain drain? When many of our qualified guys are leaving the country, moving abroad to seek for greener pasture, the best of hands. If you notice what happened between year 2000 and after lockdown, the best brains in ICT, the best brain in medicals, they are gone, far gone. In tech, they are far gone. In lab technician, nurses, they are gone. Doctors are gone. The best brain drain, they are gone for greener pasture to other countries, developing other countries where we are here. Go to many of our hospitals today. How many doctors, how many nurses we have? Short staff. Some of them, they just put young graduates, coppers, full hospitals. And they just get to the hospital and say, Google. They use Google to attend to you. That is unfortunate. Brain drain. Because the best of hands are gone for greener pasture. They don't japa. That's the language. Poor educational system. The system we claim to be practicing, we are not actually practicing it. This system was adopted in 1989-90. I remember that Babangida regime that time, the military regime. 6334 system. Are we actually practicing this system? No, we are not. We are not. There's a failure in the educational system in Nigeria. And I owe nobody any apology. The implication of this system is that 6 years in primary school, 3 years in junior school. And in this junior school, you write junior WAEC or junior NECO. And after this junior WAEC and NECO, based on this system, because I wrote a paper on this many years ago, I think 1990 or thereabout, or 97. In the 90s, I wrote a paper on this. And after the first 3 years in junior secondary school, those of them that did fantastically well, they moved to the SS3, the senior school, SSS, senior secondary school. Those that didn't do too well moved to what? Technical colleges. In these technical colleges, they will be trained to become skilled laborers. You know, tailoring, you know, shoe cobblers, carpentry, you know, welding, all these things, they will do that in 3 years. And then, based on this system, after their 3 years, while this one are continuing their secondary education, this one will learn those trades. After their 3 years, the government will fund them, give them grants. They take off grant to start life, to start business. So before this one will finish and go to university and come out, this one already established, contributing to the economy of Nigeria. Are we doing that? No. What we do now, from GS3, whether pass or fail, all of them move to what is SS1. And that goes, garbage in, garbage out, giggle. Goes like that. The same thing, just offload everybody to university. Nobody go to polytechnics. The polytechnics are actually the backbone. As we are growing up in our own days, what we got to know is that the engineering people, the engineering company, they prefer people with OND than people with BSc. Why? OND are practical people. This one just BSc graduates are just a paper thing. Theory. Why OND? They did practical. Why in school? After the OND, they go for IT. They do all the stuff. But we see it happening now. I can say it's unfortunate. So there's poor educational system where we have chunk of graduates coming out who some of them cannot even spell their names. They can't even make complete statement. They can't even write application letter. It's unfortunate. Because I must be a graduate. I must have certificates. I must do this. I must do that. You don't have to. Even people that are not supposed to go to school are in school. That's why we're all manner of mess in the system. Poor educational system. Even the people, the teachers in the educational system are not well remunerated. So they are not working with zeal. They are not working with all their hearts. There are no longer enough grants for professors in the university to do research and bring up so many. Oh, goodness me. Anyway, poor educational system. Cultural and religious restrictions. You know, in some places, they prefer to train men, boys, than to train girls. So after all, the girl will soon get married and go to husband. They train. Oh, what kind of mentality is this? Cultural and religious restriction. Restrict some even from going as far as for some courses. But I think civilization and religion is breaking some of those myths, some of those traditional mentality. Now, low wages discouraging participation. See, when people think of how much will you pay me, so why will I do it? Like some of you want me to come and pick you up, take you up as a person, to be your personal coach, your personal tutor. But can you pay? That's it. So many people will prefer not to even take that job because when you look at how much it's going to pay me. So low wages also discourage participation in the economy, in the labor force. When you think of how much I'm going to earn, why doing it in the first place? So these are factors that affect the supply of labor in Nigeria. Hope you're enjoying this class. Please share the link with your friends so that they can also learn what you are learning. The next question WAEC sent to us we are practicing today is define inflation and explain 5 causes of inflation in developing countries. If you notice, these questions are coming in the same format. 2-edged answers. Define, tell us the meaning of inflation, and then give us causes of inflation in developing country like Nigeria, developing economy. Are you with me? Very well. So the first thing, what is inflation? There's no way you define inflation without mentioning what? When there is general increase in the general price level. Increase in the general price level. When the prices of goods and services are increasing. When the value of, when money is losing its value. when you need to carry plenty of money to buy just little thing. That's what we call inflation. So what are the causes of inflation? Let's see the answer provided in this place. Inflation is persistent. The word persistent means continuous, rise, increase. In the word general price, not just the price of one good, but general price of goods and of course of services. So what are the causes? The first thing is when there's too much money in circulation. Too much money in circulation. When money is too much in circulation, it loses its value. Money should not be too much and should not be too few in circulation. And that's why the central bank to regulate through monetary policy and other policies. Government should regulate through fiscal policies in their spending and in tax. So when there's excess money in circulation, money will lose its value. When there's high production costs, when it becomes very expensive to produce goods, you're going to sell at a very high price, like what happened in Nigeria today. The cost of raw materials are expensive and not there. The cost of acquiring technology is very expensive. To import anything down here, very expensive. So when you import very high, you get raw material very high, the cost of production is very high. So what happened to the final price? Very high, to the roof. There are many consumers who are not able to afford it. Imported inflation. When there are inflation, goods at expensive prices in another country, you are buying to your country. What are you doing? You are importing inflation. Look at the value of Nigerian money compared to dollar and pounds. If you are buying anything, for instance, if I'm buying this marker from US and coming to sell in Nigeria, look at the value of dollar to naira. The price we sell it will be so exorbitant. So if there's inflation in US and you are bringing goods from US to Nigeria, you are importing inflation to Nigeria. Imported inflation. Demand pull pressure. When people have more money, when their income increases, they have more money in their hand. What happens? They demand more. So the more you are buying, you are demanding. What happens? You are pulling the price to go up. Automatically, the price will go up. Because you are putting pressure on that particular product. When there's poor infrastructure leading to shortages, poor infrastructural facilities, electricity, power supply, people cannot produce as much as they want to produce, so there's shortage. Bad roads, people cannot bring product from the hinterlands, from farms, from villages to the city for people to eat. Shortages in the cities, in the urban centers. I was thinking about even involving myself in what they call it, agricultural product, food from Boye, bringing that to Lagos. I was talking to somebody yesterday and I was telling that, do you know the implication of the cost? And when I look at the cost, I was discovering I will get it by cheaper there. But when you look at the cost before it gets to this place, unless you have to do like a cartel in trailers in large quantity. But for you to just get it, like a Sienna loaded with yam from that, I want to bring to Lagos to sell, the cost alone will kill you. You barely will not make profit out of it. So there's always shortage in the urban center. And shortage will lead to what? Increase in price. So these are factors that causes inflation in an economy. Okay? So you're expected to state and explain them in this way. Don't leave the answers like this. Just explain what is my excess money when there's too much of money in circulation, leading to what? The loss in the value of money. Too much money chasing after what? Limited goods. That's it. When there's high cost of raw materials, high cost of technology, it will lead to high cost of production, thereby leading to what? Increase in price. So just give you a little two-line explanation and you get your full marks in your exams. Okay? There's no long story. The next question, explain and identify and explain 5 functions of money. First of all, identify it. 1, money is a store of value. 2, money is what? For acceptance, generally acceptable for purchase of goods and services. 3, money is for deferred payment. 4, money. So when you write this, then you now explain them one by one. Please follow that protocol so that you can be able to get your full points in exam situation. So let's see what we have here now. Number 1, money is a medium of exchange. How do we mean by that? Money facilitates buying and selling, encourages buying and selling. This function of money brought solution to the problem of barter trade. You remember barter trade? Where you have yam, you need rice. You take your yam to the market and you wait until when you see somebody who has rice and wants yam. And you may wait throughout the whole day. You will see somebody who has rice but doesn't want yam. So can you exchange? That was a barter problem before money came. So money makes trading, buying and selling, exchanging your goods and services easy. It's a medium of exchange. Okay? It's a unit of account. With money, you can measure the value of anything. How much is this marker? How much is my cleaner? How much is my laptop? How much is my shirt? So a unit of account. With money, you can measure the unit of any point, any item. Account, a unit of account. You can measure. A store of value. You can save wealth in investment, in savings. You can save wealth with money. Money can be a store of value. But when there's inflation, it loses its value. If you keep, for instance, 10,000 naira under your bed since last year, what 10,000 can buy last year cannot buy it again. So your money has lost what? Its store of value. So storing money during inflation does not make sense. Instead of storing the money, invest the money. Okay? So as a cushion the effect of inflation on the value of that money. Money can serve as standard of deferred payment. It encourages credit facilities. You can buy today and pay later. How much is this? Okay, I buy it today, I pay the amount later. But you know, this also, the buyer enjoy during inflation while the seller loses. You know why? Because you buyer, you have bought and you have enjoyed, but by the time you are paying back later, inflation has taken over the profits from the seller. Okay? Transfer of value enable you to move wealth. You can move money. You can move cash. You can move your wealth from place to place. From one business to another, from one location to another. Money is a transfer of value.
Hi, I'm sure you enjoyed the content you just watched. To see more episodes as that, preparing you for your oncoming exams, smash the subscribe button on this channel right now and visit the playlist that we've made for you, covering over 50 type of different exams, including JAMB, WAEC, Kakao,